Before Rosa Parks, there was Ida B. Wells. But you never learned that in school. See, 71 years before the Montgomery bus got famous, a young black woman already stood up by sitting down. And they dragged her off of a train for it. This isn't just about one protest, it's about how underrated black women built the whole damn foundation of resistance. Put your thinkers on. Rosa wasn't first, and Ida, she didn't just sit, she fought back in court and the press. I remember being a kid and thinking Rosa Parks was the first rebel. Textbooks made it feel like black resistance started in 1955. Not the nerd out, but we all know that the civil rights movement was between 1954 to 1968. I'm nerding out. But look, then I got older and met Ida. Not in person, but through her words, her fire, her rage, her brilliance. She didn't just face Jim Crow, she squared up with it. And suddenly I realized the system's been hiding our stories, especially when it's black women refusing silence. Let's raise the volume on Ida. In 1884, Ida B. Wells boarded a train in Memphis, Tennessee, with a first-class ticket in her hand, minding her own business. She was just 22 years old. Now pause, we gotta frame this right, because 1884 is not just any year. We're less than 20 years removed from the Civil War. Reconstruction has already been betrayed. Black codes were tightening. Jim Crow was induced into the system. Here comes this young, educated, sharp-dressed black woman, straight into a train car that was labeled without ink, but by law and custom as whites only. She wasn't loud, she wasn't reckless, she had paid her money, she did nothing wrong, but because of her skin and her spine, they came for her. The conductor demanded she move to the segregated colored car. She refused. When they tried to remove her, she didn't just comply like a good Negro was supposed to. She fought, she gripped the seat, she resisted. And when they grabbed her, two grown men holding her down. She bit the conductor. Yes, Ida bit that man for trying to buy her dignity. Later she wrote, "The moment I was ordered to give up my seat, I made up my mind not to comply." She filed a lawsuit against the railroad, not out of rage, but out of principle. The lower court ruled in her favor. It awarded her $500 in damages. That's over $15,000 in today's money. That ruling was symbolic justice, but white power never sleeps. The Tennessee Supreme Court overturned the decision, saying she had no legal claim to dignity in that space. So, did she back down? Nah, she turned to something more powerful than money: the press. Ida became the editor and the co-owner of the Free Speech and Headline newspaper, published out of Memphis. She used her pen like a sword, started documenting lynching, lies, and legal corruption. Her journalism didn't just report the facts, it exposed the machinery behind the oppression. Then came the year that would change everything. 1892. Three of her close friends, Thomas Moss, Calvin McDowell, and Will Stewart, were lynched by a white mob. Why? Because they had the audacity to own a successful black-owned grocery store that was competing with a white man's business. The murder of her friends broke something in her, but it also awakened something deeper. She wrote, "The way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them." From that moment on, she went global. Ida B. Wells didn't just write editorials, she collected data on lynchings. She named names, she sourced facts, she tracked patterns. She showed the most lynchings weren't about grapes or justice, it was economic racial control. White mobs didn't want safety, they wanted dominance. They responded with violence. They burned down her newspaper office in Memphis. They issued threats on her life. She had to flee to Chicago. Even then, she never stopped. She traveled to England, she lectured in Scotland. She forced foreign pressures on the US to put bill to ass with its hypocrisy. This was years before W.E. Du Bois dropped Souls of Black Folks, before Marcus Garvey, before the Harlem Renaissance, before Rosa, Malcolm, or MLK. Y'all thought I forgot Ella Baker. Come on now, I'm not gonna forget about Ella Baker. Ida had this unique blueprint. She mixed intellect with fire. She wasn't just a writer, she was a strategist, a one-woman institution. Don't get it mixed up, she was also organized. She co-founded groups like the National Association of Colored Women. She helped launch the NAACP, though they tried to sideline her. Why? Because Ida didn't play nice with patriarchy, not even black male patriarchy. She was intersectional before that word existed. She demanded space where none was given. So let's be clear, Rosa Parks was powerful, but she was part of a long line, and Ida B. Well was one of the architects of that line. This woman made truth her weapon. She didn't ask for spotlight, she lit the flame. If you felt Ida's spirit in this breakdown, you need to be in the Discord. That's where the real combos happen. The breakdowns, the community, the healing. Next video, we're breaking down how they erased black women from... Never mind, y'all don't want that. Anyways, don't be stuck and dumb forever. Let's learn and grow together. It's Heff.